This is the Tony Saragusa and Jason Cameron podcast. Here's Jason and Goose.
So listen, it's one of those things. I'm actually we're
Put on your headphones so you can hear yourself.
yeah, that would be a good idea. Why don't I actually like I'm actually
This is like our first
in the
day.
studio.
And we have a live audience too.
Yeah, we have
Frank's
a live.
Frankie,
Frankie's
our first
here.
audience.
We actually have an audience.
Are we taping this?
Were you
Can we
coming
video
over?
this?
Were you coming over anyway, or were you just here hanging out? Oh, he told you.
We should go on like live or something.
I should have brought somebody.
Now, Frank, you're going to be in charge. Since you're here, Frank.
Say, Frank, since you're here, you might as well make yourself useful.
Yeah, I'm going to go on that Facebook. What is that called?
Facebook Live. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you do that?
He's like that. Remember that commercial where the
Oh,
guy
yeah,
says,
it's
"Everybody
live.
know how to post video to Facebook?" Remember that
Okay.
commercial? That's Goose is still in that
An
commercial.
optional description. What is it?
Our first podcast.
Me and Jason.
No, Jason and I, actually, if you want to
Okay.
say
All
it
right,
correctly.
all right.
Jason and I,
And
first podcast.
no, Jason and Eyes.
No, I didn't say eyes. Jason and I, our first podcast. Or Jason and I, podcasting. Whatever. Dude, you know what?
You know what? I'm not doing what you
Put it
say.
in your own words.
Me and
Whatever
Jason's
you want to
first
do it. I'm just trying to
podcast.
give you a lesson in English, but that's all right.
F-I-R-S-T. Is podcast one word?
One word.
Okay, let's now. How do I go activate here? Done. Here we go.
Are you on?
Starting live video.
Starting live. There you go. You're on.
All right,
Good. How's
Frank.
it?
You gotta walk around and stuff. So that's Jay Stu right there.
Frank, don't just stand in one spot.
This is gonna be. This is Frankie's op. There's Jason.
Frankie's our one guy that's down in our
And here's
audience,
me.
and we're putting him to work already.
Yeah, this is our first podcast.
Yeah.
See all our stuff. Look,
Yeah.
we got the Borgata Hotel and Casino.
and
Remember
then
we made this table. We made this table on
Whoa!
Man Cave.
We made this table?
Yeah, remember I did. Remember I made this when we did
First
the
of all,
casino?
you never made anything yourself.
Okay.
Number one.
All right, yeah,
all
you
right?
did.
But
You
you
did
actually did this at Borgata.
All right, yeah.
All right. I do remember.
Stoles on here. Yeah, invite. Yeah. So this is our here. You got to start filming. You're the film
that.
guy.
Yeah, you're the film. Our one audience member is now the film guy.
Yeah,
See
so
how we do that?
He like pushed the button. Now we're off. we're offline. Oh no, we're still on. Here
We're still on. There we
Don't
go.
touch anything.
Don't
Just
touch anything,
film.
Frankie. Just film.
So this is our first podcast.
Yeah.
We're in my basement. You can see that's me over there.
Yeah.
That's for my 50th birthday party.
Yeah, it was-
my wife made. Yeah, remember you were here.
Dude, that wasn't the only one. You had them all over the place.
Yeah, they're
out
like
there.
stacked behind. They're
Yeah.
stacked behind.
You had a petting zoo.
Yeah, now there's darts in them. My wife throws darts at the full figured.
We all would have done that if we had darts out
So
there.
let's introduce Jay real quick. So
Yeah.
Jason, Frank, get him. So Jason is was our editor from Man Caves. You know, when we did the shows, we were talking about this earlier about all the good footage we got. But I don't think a lot of people know that DIY is a G network.
Well, yeah. Can you go any lower than G?
No,
Or is G the,
no.
all right.
G's like Mary Poppins.
PG and then G, right?
Yeah, G.
Yeah. It's
G,
pretty. It's
so-
pretty G.
Yeah, I remember we did that. Remember we were over in Clark and we did we decided we were going to go and do the shooting range. Remember that? Oh, let's put a shooting range in the guy's basement and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then they came out with like cap guns, or they shot these like rubber BBs, and they're like, oh, make sure that the orange thing's at the end.
That was too controversial.
Dude,
They couldn't-
I wanted
yeah.
to walk off that set. That was the worst. I think that was the worst Man Cave.
We
ever
literally
made.
had to talk you out of leaving. I think
That
at that
was
on that one.
horrible, and I felt so bad for those people.
Well, listen. Here's the problem. You and I, even though we had a blast, listen, we always had fun,
Right.
and the guys had a good time.
Make
It was
sure
a
you
lot
get
of work.
Jason too. He has a very he's very, very popular with the alternative crew. Go
But
ahead.
how much footage do you think we actually have or is in the can that will never see the light of day?
Jason, can you answer that? How much footage?
Yeah.
Could we do
It's
another 100
hundreds
shows?
and hours of footage.
That-
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
And why was it buried just because it's too controversial, or the fact that they were too nervous to air it?
It's just too much. You shoot for 3 days. You shoot 30, 40 hours of footage,
With this
and you
guy.
cut it down to it's not. People think that it's a 30-minute show, but that's with 10 minutes of commercials. It's a 20-minute
Yeah.
show, 20 minutes of content. So you're cutting 30 hours down to 20 minutes.
Right.
You have tons of extra stuff.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the tons of it. I'm talking about the stuff that you would look at and you're like, that's never going to make it on. air.
What really sticks out in your mind? Something that did not make TV that we had on one of the shows.
I'm thinking of something already.
Yeah,
I
me
know
too.
would make air.
Yeah,
Well, maybe you guys should say
Yeah.
it because I think
which
mine
one? No,
will
you
be-
from you for you.
It's not footage, but the the leader of the whole show, like the leader of Leopard Films, coming over to you and getting into Goose's trailer, the big
RV.
the RV,
The confrontation.
and telling you that he's going to fire Brian, one of the crew members. I was in an
You
edit
mean
room.
Brian, the guy who stole all our tools?
So yeah,
That
but,
guy that-
but that was before we knew about that.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't a bad guy.
So he came to me, his
Right.
chest up, saying, "I'm firing." I'm like, "You ain't firing anybody, motherfucker." You know what I mean?
yeah, like
Because we can say motherfucker.
Absolutely,
All right.
absolutely.
'Cause
Which is nice.
Listen, this is the other thing about being on GTV. You condition yourself not to swear. So now I can swear, and I'm like, I can actually swear.
this is man caves with 2 nuts. We had one. We did man
What was-
caves with a half a nut.
One was chopped off.
Oh my God! Well, how many? I think every man cave we went to, the guy wanted a stripper pole. We're like, oh, we can't put. God, we want to put one in so
You
bad.
always wanted to put one in, and we were
Dude,
like,
I had
"No,
one
we
in my.
can't."
I had one in my
I
car,
know,
like
just in
waiting.
case.
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case. We couldn't do it.
So go ahead. The guy was going to go fire Brian.
So the guy came out, and he was going to fire out this, you guys can't, he came out, he was going to fire Brian. I'm like, you're not firing anybody.
Why? What was
Yeah.
it? Why was he want? Why did he want to fire?
I don't remember, Stu. What was the
Premise.
He had a
of that?
lot of stuff. There was a truck that was parked in Hoboken, and I guess Brian got the parking spot for free, and he was still invoicing Leopard.
Oh, yeah.
And so Leopard would pay, and he would just pocket the money.
He was banging
So,
like one
listen.
of the girls or something like that. That in the
One of them.
yeah, 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Anybody over 200 pounds, he was on like a magnet.
He got a listen. Suffice to say, he got a bug up his ass. He came up, confronted you. He confronted me
Dude,
first.
he stole our motorcycle.
Yeah, confronted us, and I said, "Listen, that ain't happening. You're not firing anybody." Then
Right.
you got involved, and then Goose and I started talking. We're like, "These guys, I'm sorry, but that's not going to cut it." So we went to DIY and said, "Listen, it's either them or us." And they had to come back. They had to come back and apologize.
They hated me and you. We would back up everybody.
Oh, without a doubt, dude. I'm not letting any of my guys go. But so they came and apologized. You remember they came to set. They brought the bottles of was it Jim Beam?
Yeah, like
The
Johnny
Black-
Walker Blue.
Johnny Walker
Yeah,
Blue,
yeah.
and they tried to make amends. And
I
you know,
just want to
whatever.
thank you guys. These
Yeah.
so Leopard Films was like a bunch of English guys. Hello, mate.
Yeah.
We're really sorry. Shut up,
Ish.
bozos.
The one guy, and I can't remember his name. Stu, you might remember his name. He was the head of Leopard for a little while. He came out, and he
Was that the guy with the real tight pants? I told him he's going to get a yeast infection.
maybe it was
He
he,
keeps
the one
wearing
who
those.
invaded your space. He was always in your space.
Yeah,
the guy that
yeah.
got way too close to
Yeah,
you.
I didn't like that.
Yeah,
I didn't
there-
like that.
Julian.
No, it wasn't
No,
Julian.
it was the other guy.
Not
And then
Julian.
there's Nick.
No.
I think
It was
Nick,
Nick.
something.
It was Nick.
Yeah, short
He
guy.
got in your space, and every time that happened, I'm like, dude, you got to back up because you're way too close to me.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable.
Yeah, smell his breath.
But I will say this though. You remember way back our first episode, and I always tell people this is a funny story. When I first met you, Goose, and I've told it to you a couple times because
Oh, that was the one we did in Boston, right?
we did in Boston, and I'm sitting in the hotel room with the production company Swift River. Right?
Yeah,
They were
yep.
the first ones,
Yep.
and we're waiting on Goose. So he was supposed to come and meet us, and we were going to have a meeting, talking about this new show, Man Caves, and I'll meet each other, and, and so he doesn't show up. He comes in finally at like 9 o'clock. We're getting ready to leave. We're still sitting at the table. He comes in, sits at the bar, orders something to eat. We're sitting at the table, and obviously I recognized him. We all knew who you were, and,
Right.
and the production company's like, go introduce yourself. I'm like, all right. So I went up to the bar. At this point, Goose has already got his meal. He's eating, and I walk up to him. I tap him on the shoulder. I'll never forget this. I tap you on the shoulder, and hey, Mr. Saragusa, my name is Jason Cameron. I'm going to be working with you. I'm looking forward to it. And you look up at me, and you go, without even still chewing on your food, yeah, great. And you keep eating. So I go back to the table, and they're like, "Wow, what do you think?" I'm like, "This is gonna suck," because he already hates me. So I'm like, I was already dreading the next day, but that was our first meeting. You remember
Dude,
that?
I don't listen. All I know is I had my RV. I drove all the way up there. It was very unorganized.
Oh, there's
But,
a whole story right there.
we did a man cave, but we did it. It was like 6 days. I mean, we
Yeah, that was a big
completely
one.
did the person's basement, everything,
Everything.
weight room,
Yeah, too much.
exercise room. And that's when I fell. I fell on my ass. I slipped down that big hill they had there, and
But we were feeling each other out, though. You were sizing me up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
as a
absolutely.
co-host. And
Yeah.
I was just one of those things. But it was cool. Listen, we had a great time. It ended up turning out really nice.
Yeah.
So we knew we had something
Yep.
at that point. We knew we had a cool show. Swift River ended up being a big flop.
Yeah.
They ended up really dropping the ball. The production company, the original
they
one.
They weren't a bad production company, but I think that they didn't format the show the right way.
They dropped the ball on many things. I don't know if you remember the show we did in Hoboken where they didn't even figure out where we were going to set up. I'm like, this is production 101, guys. You can't wait till we get the set, and then I got to figure out what we're going to do. It was just...
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, but listen...
They're West Coast guys. West Coast,
West Coast guys.
Right.
But over the years, though, it's funny because we think back to all the man caves we've done.
How many did we find? Was it like 167?
I was trying to, Stu, what do you know?
I think you're right. Like it's in the 160s.
Well, we did 150 was at Madame Tussauds.
Yeah.
Which I still laugh about because they only did your wax figure. They didn't do mine. My joke is they ran out of wax after they did yours.
They did. They did. I tried to get that thing. They took that down finally. That was a long. I mean, they had it up for like 3 years.
Longer than I thought.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, but the likeness was insane though. When I was looking at you standing next to it, I mean, they did a good job. Man.
Yeah, they did.
They did a really good job. You had to fly to London for that, right?
No, I didn't. I told them they had to do it in New York. I couldn't fly to London.
Oh, I thought you were going to London for that.
No, but I had to stand like in the thing, and they like kept rotating me like, a half a centimeter, and my ADD started kicking in. And I was like, "Listen, you got 4 more minutes." We're like, "Well, we need 2 more hours." I'm like, "Listen, you got 4 more minutes." I gotta get out of here.
Surprised I got that.
No,
but it turned out really good. Yeah, they kept it up for a long time. But that one stands out. A couple other ones that stand out to me is Snoop Dogg, and the reason that stands out is not for good reasons. Because I tried to rap in front of Snoop, and that's probably
that was a catastrophe.
I'll never live that down. You got to find that footage, Stu, because that was really bad. Well, trying to rap in front of him. Like,
now, what did you say? How'd it go? Go ahead,
dude.
I mean, you were doing like the poof, 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 and I'm like, what's he doing?
Shit,
what is he doing? What is he doing?
What's happening here?
Yeah,
what's happening here? No, it was a really bad attempt at rapping.
Tizzle, my rizzle, or
it was really bad.
That's right. You tried. I mean, listen, Jace, I had your back.
But the best part of that was the fact that what do we call him now? Is it Snoop Lion, Snoop Dogg? What is he now?
Snoop.
Just Snoop.
He's Snoop now.
All right, just Snoop. So, we're hanging out with him. He's actually spending some time with us, which was cool.
Yeah.
Because you and I remember standing on the concrete pad after we took his old shed down, which was a tool shed.
Right.
I can't believe he was using it as
that was
man
like a
cave.
Home Depot.
It was terrible. Yeah, it was bad. With plastic lawn furniture and a 19-inch RCA. That was his
14
man cave.
pit bulls.
Yeah, 14 pit bulls. So after we removed it, you and I are standing on the concrete pad, and we're talking to our crew, and we're like, we're planning this thing out, and I'm thinking to myself, he's got to have a window, man. There's no window in this.
The view was unbelievable. He's like on the side of a mountain, overlooking the whole valley. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you were really trying to sell him on that window, and he goes, "No windows."
No. Here's what happened. So you and I are looking at each other. You got to do a window. So you go, Jace, go get Snoop and tell him we're going to put a window in. I'm like, all right. So I go to find Snoop. Now, right at the same time that we're filming, E was filming his show.
Right.
So E was filming us filming our show.
Right.
It was all in one. So he's doing a scene, and the producer says, "Go, just interrupt." I'm like, all right. So, hey, Snoop, sorry to interrupt, but we got a little dilemma going back here in your man cave. And he goes, what's up? And I said, Goose and I want to put a window in. You got this amazing view in the back. We want to put a big picture window up. And he goes, motherfucker, I want one way in, one way out. That's it.
No motherfucking windows.
No window. So I cried. That's when I yelled back to you guys, no window. And
yeah, he was fun to work with. He was. Yeah. I went and coached. He had that football team. He went down there. I remember that. How about the one when we did the hunting one? Remember, and we did like. We're shooting arrows and everything like that.
I know which
and
one
then
you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're not going to talk about what happened.
Yeah, and then we had the fake deer, and then Jason went up, and all the guys were around, and Jason got in back of the deer like he was mounting the deer, and then I got in the front of the deer. Me and Jason were double teaming the deer. And then Jason was nervous for like a week. Please don't let anybody see that. They're going to throw me off a DIY.
I literally was, dude.
I'm done.
I actually called Goose, and I'm like, Goose, you got to get him to get that footage and bury it. You got to bury that footage. Goose like, don't worry about it. I'm like, dude, if they see this, I could be done.
Yeah, we're done.
I was so nervous about that footage.
That's when we got the ghillie suits. Remember, we were like in the ghillie suits, and we were like crawling.
I remember how much they reeked.
Yeah, they stunk.
It was bad, but that was fun. The other one too that I talk about a lot, especially when I'm doing appearances and stuff like that, is the USO tent that we did in Kuwait.
Oh, that was awesome.
Because let me tell you something, Goose and I, you and I are huge supporters of the troops. In fact, we just did something recently for the troops. But to be there and actually spend time with them and the CBOs, the construction battalion, and I think it was the Ohio National Guard that was there at the time, right?
Yeah, the engineering kids.
Awesome. Kid, and they're kids. They literally are kids.
Listen, that was the biggest shocker for me. We land in Kuwait. I get out of the airport. I'm like, where the hell am I? Just flew 18 hours. We get to the base, which is another hour drive outside in the middle of a desert.
Yeah.
You got through all the security. We finally
Nothing
get
but
inside.
sand and concrete.
But then there's like little high school kids walking around with machine guns, and I'm like, I don't really feel too safe here. I can't. This is our army. Like, you don't realize they're 18, 19, 20-year-old kids.
Young, man.
Then they're clearing their guns before we go into the mess hall and stuff like that. It was. You don't realize that. You think, you see all these war movies and all this stuff, and you think like, they're 30-year-old guys, and they're not. They're young kids that are really protecting our country.
You think of your own kids because like this
Yeah.
age. So we're there, and again, this is a completely new environment for us. I've never been in an area where it's 130-degree temperature. It was 130
At 9 o'clock at night.
at 9 o'clock at night.
Oh
Yeah.
my
So
God.
so unfortunately, they made the decision to team Goose and I up in the same trailer, which was. Number one, it's a small trailer, and they have.
They really talked it up too. They're like, "Oh no, you guys are going to be in the general's quarters. You're going to have your own area. You're going to have air conditioning." Yeah, we had 2 air conditioners.
They barely worked.
Yeah, and it was 100.
Yeah. But listen, in comparison to what the troops had, we were living in style.
Remember, we actually remember we got on all the equipment that they wear, like
that's
50
crazy.
pounds of gear. It's ridiculous.
It gives you a complete new appreciation for what they go through. So, and how many guys? A couple of guys ended up in the infirmary. A couple of our guys.
Yeah,
because they were dehydrated.
Yeah. Because
So,
you don't realize you're losing
but
all that weight.
just to set this up for people that are listening, because if you've never been to Kuwait or anywhere like that, it is insane. It is like an oven. You're in an oven, basically.
If you get a hair dryer and you put it like about 5 inches from your face and just turn it on,
Or
full
from your-
blast,
Yeah.
from your nuts, that's what it feels like. You're just blowing this hot air. Like when the wind blows, it was like you were like, this is fake. There's no way it could be this hot.
Yeah, but you're and then on top of that, you got this like talcum powder, right? It gets into everything. So those 2 things combined. So we're there and we're working. They actually gave us a trailer to work in, which was really cool.
That was cool.
And then the USO tent that we were doing was huge. I don't know about you, but when I walked in, I'm like, there's no way we're finishing this. And
Yeah,
it was gigantic.
But then them army ants, man, them guys came out,
Tell
man,
you
and
what.
helped us.
Yeah, they saved the day.
Wow.
So we're doing this, and when you walk into the USO tent, just to give people an idea of this, so it's 130 degrees outside. They have a flag system that they use, and if it's a black flag, I think you work 30 minutes and you rest 10 or rest 15, something like that, because they don't want you to work too much in the heat. And we had a black flag pretty much the whole time we were there. So we walk into the USO tent. Now, the USO tent is huge, and all these structures are not
It was
permanent.
10,000 square feet? It had
No,
to be.
easily. But none of these structures, correct me if I'm wrong, are permanent,
None.
right? Because they all have to be movable.
Yeah, that's what when I was on my way from the airport over to the tent in the USO base. That's what they were saying. I was like, listen, we saved Kuwait. Like, we went in and they were getting invaded, and we went in there. We spent all this money. Yeah, but we have to rent the property from them. Like, property, it's sand. There's nothing, and we can't put anything in the ground. They didn't even have hot water. They just had like these tanks of water, and it was so hot
In the sun.
Yeah, in the sun. It was like boiling water. You could have made pasta in the friggin' in the pots. It was unbelievable.
So you walk in to the USO tent, and this is Camp Virginia that we're talking about, just so everyone understands this. And at the time we were there, it was the Ohio National Guard, I believe, that was running.
Yes, they
So
had the acorns on their uniform.
Yeah.
Remember they had the acorn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you walk in, and it's 80 degrees or 82 in the tent. So I never thought I would walk into a room at 82 and feel like that was
refreshing.
AC. But 82 felt like AC to me. 82 felt like
It
69
did.
when you're walking out of 130-degree heat. How crazy was that? It was just
insane.
fans.
That was. You sort of, they say, oh, you're here long enough, you get used to it. I mean, I didn't get used to it. And you could be there for a year. You're not getting used to it.
So we went through that whole process. It was an amazing experience because you and I both loved the troops. So it was
Unbelievable.
great. All our crew loved being there and helping them out. It was a great experience. But would I want to go back just to go back? Not really.
No. Have no reason.
No.
No reason to be there.
No.
Sam Kennison said it best. Listen, it's sand. It's never going to change. It's sand. Don't send them food. Send them U-Hauls and get them the hell out of there because in 1,000 years it's going to be sand.
Sand.
That's all you saw was sand. It was just, the fun thing that I remember was, so we're at Camp Virginia and we're thinking about how we're going to do the open, and the open turned out to be unbelievable. They had us on in them Humvees and with the 50 caliber. We had to go train at that one
Did you actually shoot that?
Yeah. They let us train. They put me in the turret, and I was like sweeping around and firing a gun. But I had to go into this facility where they had like TV screens, and they would go and tell you what to look at and all this stuff, like a little bit of a training.
Also the training thing.
Yeah. And then they wanted me to go to this other camp, which was like another hour away.
Wait. I don't mean to interrupt it, but is that the thing you had a hard time getting in and out of?
Yeah, a hard time getting it out of the Humvee by myself. Now they wanted to go and flip it upside down.
That's right.
And get me teach me how to escape. I go, listen, dude, I barely fit in this thing. If it goes upside down, I'm not escaping.
You need the what do you call those things that they use?
Jaws of life.
Jaws of life.
Yeah, that's not even working. That's not even working. But so I told the guy, I gave him 100. He got me out of that deal, so I didn't have to take care of that one. But it was pretty neat, being in a caravan going up towards Kuwait, going up towards. What was all the caravans that were going up towards Iraq?
Yeah.
They were going up towards Iraq.
Yeah.
And then we had 2 Apache helicopters, coming over the horizon, which was awesome.
By the way, when Goose talks about these things, these are the things that he gets to do, all right? The rest of us had to be in the heat working. Goose gets to enjoy all this stuff, which listen, I'm happy for you, buddy. But at the same time, I'm there with you in spirit.
Well, you always wanted to work. I mean, it's not like you ever wanted to go. I'm like, Jace, come on, let's go take a ride. No, the screw's crooked.
This is true,
dude. You are so anal and so OCD that
right.
we could have had a lot more.
There
fun.
are many moments where you would look at me and I'm thinking to myself, why am I working so hard, right? Because you tried for many years to say you're working way too hard, let somebody else do it, but I can't bring myself to give up control.
Yeah, like when I cut that, we had a full wall. It was in. One of the guys on our cruise knew a family member, and we were doing one for them. And there was a full wall, and we had to make it a half wall. So, you're over there, you're doing a drawing, this and that. And I just said, so it's a full wall, we got to make it a half wall. So I got a Sawzall. I went and said, where do you want it about? How high? And I made a little mark. I drew a line straight across. I just got the Sawzall, cut it in half. We knocked down the top, and I said, it's done.
I had to walk.
You completely flipped.
I literally had to walk away. Just so you guys know, when Goose says he drew a line, he just drew a line. He didn't use a level. He just drew a line.
Yeah, we shim it, dude. Shim it up. It's a man cave.
So I had to walk away from that one, just so everybody knows, because But at the same time, Goose, you'll come in at the end, right? Because you like to take credit for most of the things we do. No. You come in at the end, and then you'll scrutinize everything down to the last little screw that's in it. Right.
It's amazing how I see everything.
Meanwhile, when we were building it, you were upset that we weren't done yet. Right. Put a screw in it, put a nail in it, let's go. But at the end, you'll scrutinize it to the point of that.
Well, instead of it taking an hour, it took you 8 hours, and it was still messed up at the end anyway. So what are you worried about?
Yeah,
there's a dent, or the screw was crooked, or something.
You got to
Jason.
Admit,
listen, if I'm going to have anyone build a house for me, it's going to be you.
Well, listen, you got to admit we built some cool stuff.
Oh, dude, we had a lot of fun.
But just to finish the Kuwait thing, right? Just to put that into perspective, not only we have a blast, but just the time that we were there and what we accomplished in that was absolutely incredible. I mean, that was, we left them with a space that they could come out of theater and really decompress.
Yeah,
because it was a really nice space. So I was really happy.
It was awesome. You know how many guys I've seen at different military events, and they complimented and said, "Hey, man, thanks."
The guys that went through that,
yeah, a lot of guys, whether they were coming in or going out. So it was, that was definitely gratifying for me to go over there and give them guys, something which doesn't even scratch the surface of what they give to us.
So that was probably, I don't know about you, but that was probably one of my favorite ones, just from the perspective of us giving back to them and spending time with the troops. That was an amazing experience. And the fact that we had to fly, people ask me this question, did you guys bring your own tools? We had to bring everything.
Oh.
We had to ship 3 containers of stuff over.
And then they held it on us.
Until
we gave them kickbacks. We had to pay everybody off over there, remember?
So the first 2 days we filmed in Kuwait was on commando style. We were just using whatever camera we had to film.
We didn't have any of our nothing. We had nothing it was a 2 or 3 day delay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Goose, but the guy who ran customs was holding our stuff hostage because he wanted to get his son to the United States. Is that what it was?
Something crazy like that. And then I think Mike, our producer, was like, yeah, we'll get him in. We'll get him. Does he want to go to Harvard? Where does he want to go? He was just promising the guy the world.
So they were bribing us.
Yeah, bribing.
And by the time we had enough, the guy that was in charge had to go there and call this guy out and finally got the stuff released.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
It's crazy stuff, man. That's
a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
And over the years, it's funny because I listen. You know this, but I tell stories all the time when I meet people. And one of my favorite stories, and you've got to tell this one real quick, is I tell it from your book because it's in your book. But when you played the game, they didn't want you to play because you weren't feeling well. You went in, you got hit, you went down, and you filled your pants up.
It didn't really happen like that.
Well, tell me this. The way I tell it's probably better. But go ahead and I want to hear this.
No, it was we were playing the Washington Redskins, and I went and I had a radio show back then, and I was telling everybody about what happened that weekend, and they got a doctor, and the doctor rushed me over to the facility before the game about 4 hours, and my stomach was killing me, and he said, "Listen, you're backed up. When was the last time I went to the back? I don't even remember. I don't remember what And he's like, "Yeah, you're all backed up." I go, "All right, well, what do we do?" He goes, "Well, we can give you a laxative." I go, "Laxative? 4 hours before the game? They're going to give me a laxative?" I go, "What are you out of your mind?" So he says, "The only other thing we can do is give you an enema." So I'm like, "All right, So you figure the NFL, $1 billion industry, right? I mean, gigantic. You remember when your grandmother, your mom, when you were a little kid, you got an enema, you got that nice red bag. Right, it had a nice hose.
I don't know if I ever got it.
A little wand, would spray. Very nice, calming.
Thanks for the visual.
Yeah.
I guess.
So these guys got it.
I've never had an enema.
I've never had an enema in my life. He speaks about it so fondly too. The enema.
Yeah, when you had an enema.
Remember
the
enema? Yeah. I don't ever remember having an enema.
You were never backed up. You never had. Well, that's why you're full of shit, because you never had an enema. So they got an IV bag, and they stuck this garden hose in an IV bag, and they wanted me to put this thing up my ass. And the doctor's lubing it up, and he's putting gloves on. I'm like, "What are you doing with the gloves?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go give you an." I go, "You're not sticking anything in my ass, dude. I'll do it." So I grabbed the hose, put some extra jelly on there, and slowly inserted. And then the guy squeezed the IV bag, and all of a sudden all the pressure inside. I'm like, "Oh!" And our kicker, Matt Stover, was over at the urinal. He's like, "Oh, just relax." I'm like, "Shut your mouth, dude. I'll fucking kill you. Don't you say nothing, man." And I'm dying. All of a sudden, I sat on the toilet. And, when you get an enema, the water goes in, and it's supposed to circulate and loosen stuff up, and then comes out. So I sat on the toilet. I look and get up and look in the toilet. It looked like spring water. Nothing. No discoloration. Nothing. I go,
not what you expected.
And I was like, come on, I'm figuring something's coming out, right? Yeah. So I go back to the trainers and say, "There's nothing come out. What are we doing here?" And it wasn't even the doctor. It was the assistant doctor. He goes, "Well, I don't think I squeezed enough in." I go, "Oh, what is this, trial and error?" I go, "I got to play a game in 3 hours." Now the coach is saying, "Hey, listen, can you play? Whatever." So they went and made another fun bag and brought me over, and I stuck the thing in again, which was, totally against my beliefs. And he squeezed more in. I mean, it really hurt. So I went and sat on the toilet, held it as long as I can, and Matt Stover again, "Hold it as long as you." I'm like, I'm going to kill your kids and you. Shut your mouth, please. So I went, sat on the toilet, whoosh, all this water came out. And I look in, and there's one pellet, maybe a gerbil, ran by my toilet and landed something in there. I was like, "That's it? So that's the only thing that came out."
This isn't working for you.
No, it's not working. So anyway, we go, and the coaches are like, "Can you play?" I go, "Listen, I got to go." So there's a thing called carpet tape, which the offensive line put on their shoulder pads, and then they stick their jerseys to it so you can't grab them. So I saw them putting that on, so I got 5 or 6 strips, and I put them together, and then I, dried up everything and put it between my ass cheeks, and I went and got the carpet tape and stuck my ass cheeks together, and then taped my ass cheeks around.
This is even better. I got to write this down. I got to use this one.
And then I went out there, and I told the trainers before I go out, I said, "Listen, that particular day, we had all kinds of black pants, purple, the Ravens." So I look in our locker, and we're wearing white pants and white shirts. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you got to be kidding me.
Had to be white.
Oh, so I went over to our trainer and said, "Listen, if something happens and I'm laying on my back, do not roll me over. No matter what you do, just get a stretcher, put me on the stretcher, get me on the gurney, get me inside, get me a new pair of pants, because I just blew it out."
So wait, let me understand this correctly. Let me make sure if I've been telling this correctly. You got hit. You got hit, and you went down.
No,
right?
No.
Oh, you didn't even get hit.
No. So this is at the Redskins. So I'm telling everybody this is the radio show, right? So the next week we're playing the Tennessee Titans. So I go. All of a sudden, in the first quarter, I get my head down. Boom! I get hit on top of the head. I get paralyzed from my neck down, temporary.
You thought it was permanent, right?
Yeah, I thought. I'm laying on the ground. It was the scariest thing that ever happened to me. So they actually did have to come out and get a gurney. They rolled me over. They put me in my brace, everything like that. And as they're bringing me into the out of the stadium, I could hear a pin drop, and all of a sudden the guy goes, "He ain't hurt. He just shit his pants." From the story I told the week before. And I was like, "This son of a bitch!" I couldn't get my middle finger up to give him the finger, man. But it was. I wound up going and getting an X-ray and coming back out and playing in that game. But it was. That
was a scary moment. I remember you talking about.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But the way I tell the story, it's that you
change it up a little bit.
I changed it up a little bit. But you went into a big game. You had the white uniform on. You didn't want to play. They didn't want you to play. But you're not going to tell Goose not to play. He goes in. He gets hit. He goes down. He's on his back. shits his pants, in their white uniforms.
No, I never shit my pants. Pissed.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. But the way I tell it, just the way I tell it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You tell everybody
So
I shit
you're
my
laying
pants.
on,
That's
you're
great.
laying on your
Thanks,
back.
Jason.
Your pants are filled up, right?
Thanks.
Montezuma's revenge trainer comes out, is whispering to you. You like, hey, whatever you do, don't turn me over, right? They put you on the cart. You're playing along. As you're going out, the crowd's silent. Then all of a sudden they start cheering, because you put your thumb up, right?
Right.
So the next time you go in, this happens again. You get hit. You go down. This time you're on your back, and now you're paralyzed. Right? But you thought your career was over at the time because you were freaking out.
Exactly.
They put you on the card again. The crowd's quiet. They're wheeling you out. Some guy in the crowd goes, he just shit his pants. And then by the time you were almost out, you got control of your arm and to flip the guy off.
Yeah,
So,
I wanted to. Well, it was close. That was close.
All right. It's in the ballpark.
Yeah, it was right there. That was right there. I mean, it was. I'll go with that story too. If you want to tell
One
it that
thing
way.
you mentioned, and tell me this.
Good.
You said when you go and you have an enema, you didn't want the doctor to stick it in your ass.
Yeah,
But hang on a second.
Go ahead.
When you go to the doctor normally and he checks you back there,
I mean, the proctologist.
So are you checking yourself, or is he?
No, you're out. You're out cold when I went and got a colonoscopy, and then they put you under.
No, I'm talking about that. What about the finger exam?
I never got the finger exam.
I get.
I mean, one time when I was like
finger exam.
One time I was like 15 underneath the boardwalk. I mean, one time I got a pinky in there, but that's about the whole. It's the only thing that ever went in there.
So I had the finger exam, and
Did you?
It was the worst. It's
Come on.
worst. It is the worst thing ever. And I'm thinking, I got to go in this place. I got to drop my pants in front of this dude. He's going to
Guy or
his finger
girl?
up.
Oh, it was a dude.
Yeah, it was a dude. But listen,
How big were his fingers?
I don't know. Goose.
Did he use his thumb or his pinky?
I wasn't looking. I think it could have been any one of them. For all I know, it could have been any one of them.
Could have been anything.
It was the worst moment of my life. This was like the worst thing. But you go through those experiences. You're like, well, this sucks. But you got to do it, right?
How long was he in there? Like, was he like? Did you feel him like?
I mean, did he linger?
Yeah,
I don't know. What is the approved amount of
was
time?
He tickling
Is there-
the prostasis?
No. But is there? I don't know. I got to look this up to see if there's an approved amount of time that the finger needs to be.
I
in
don't
there
think
to
you need to get that.
Assess whether or not you're.
I'd sue him. I'd sue him.
You want to check on a finger linger?
Yeah.
The finger linger. Thank you, Stu. Yes, to see what that is. If there's an official.
The old
finger
dirty
linger.
Sanchez is.
But I have not had the colonoscopy yet. I have that to look forward to.
Yeah, that's not that bad. You roll on your side, you count to 10, you're out, you wake up.
Yeah.
You're just hoping you're not sore.
So listen, this was our first official podcast.
Yeah, this was good. It's a good start.
Yeah, it's a good
start,
start,
man.
Talking, reminiscing about man caves.
Yep.
So what we need, Goose, we need to figure out what we're going to call this, right? Because we haven't officially titled this podcast. So we need to figure it out. So if anybody, whoever listens to this, feel free to write in and give us some
finger
ideas.
licking.
Yeah, linger. What'd you call it? Finger linger.
The finger linger.
The finger linger.
No, we're not naming it that.
No,
dude.
we're not going to name it.
I'm out.
No,
I'm out of
we're
it.
not
If it's
naming
finger linger, I'm out.
This
This is my first and last podcast. I want to thank everybody for listening one time.
Yeah.
I
want to thank our one studio audience, our one member in the studio audience, Frankie.
Frankie, you got to clap.
You got to clap, Frankie. You got to come on, man. Jeez.
There you go.
Yeah, a little echo in here. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put some audio on that. Don't worry about that. But it was good stuff, man.
But here's the funny part, and Stu and I are talking about this because everybody knows your ADD. I mean, to keep you focused for any amount of time is an incredible feat. So when Goose and I first started talking about this podcast, he's like, all right, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? 15 minutes? 15 minutes, right? Goose, no, 15 minutes. I'm thinking more like 45 minutes.
How long have we been doing
45 minutes.
We've been running 34 minutes.
Okay, so there
That's
you go.
enough. We're good.
34
All right,
minutes.
take care,
That's
everybody.
one
Thanks.
episode, right?
That's it.
Yeah, but that seems like 34 minutes. That wasn't bad, right?
No, it was good.
I mean,
It was good.
you
I need
seem-
another Adderall. Let me go upstairs and
Yeah,
get another
so
Adderall.
you seem calm enough.
Yeah.
You're not fidgeting too
I'm
much.
having a little wine. I
Yeah,
just
a
had
little
some.
wine.
Yeah, just had some. Something to eat.
The wine is good.
Yeah, the good thing about it is, we got to get some of the people who we actually did man caves for, and bring them back, and because a lot of them have got flooded out. I mean, we did Michael Simon in.
he got flooded.
Yeah, he got flooded out.
got flooded, yeah.
There was a couple.
There was a couple other ones. I don't remember off the top of my head, but there were a couple other. People.
Yeah, just see what happened.
Or call some of the ones that we just had a blast on, which was like Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, Bert was good. I
don't know if you remember. You remember what happened on the roller coaster ride when you got a little. You were watching the footage and his lip was flapping it.
Yeah, and he was
in
crying
the wind
like a
on
bitch.
the roller coaster.
Yeah,
and he was crying.
Dude, I never knew he had that high of a pitched voice.
Oh man, dude, that went up like a little girl.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm the fulcrum.
He could have a mangina. Yep, absolutely.
But what a blast. So. Yeah, we got to get a hold of some of these people, man. We got to.
Cato was there too. Cato Caitlin was there.
Cato Caitlin was there. Yeah.
That footage got deleted.
With all the Cato stuff, yeah.
Got dropped. I had it in the show. It was great little segment, but it got dropped.
It got pulled out.
That's bullshit.
So you got to give it to Stu, because Stu would try. He would try to get that stuff in there, and at the last minute to get yanked.
What else? What else was a really good? Let's do one. What was one like piece like you were like, I can't believe they took this out? There was hundreds of them, but what was one?
They had an issue with when you went to the racetrack and all the games that we were playing, like
with Jason
the
doing the
bill up at the top.
That was awesome.
Some of that
I
stuff
still
got
got that
cut
video.
down.
I got it.
No, they got the one with me falling down. That's in there. That made the show. What didn't make the show was the other stuff we were doing, like sending people up to the top.
We had gotten a new coordinating producer
Yeah.
right around that
Boring.
time.
Yeah, that guy was like
Yeah.
Mr. Serious.
Yeah.
When they come in here and be
Mr. NF. No
Listen,
fun.
that's the one thing about TV shows is you get these producer guys. First of all, listen, in this industry, everybody's really weirdo. Everybody's a weirdo.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Even like us, we're a little weird. You know what I'm saying? But but then you get these guys that come in and they just want to like take over the show. Listen, the show's working, dude. We don't need you to
don't
really
mess
do
with
anything.
something that's working. Yeah.
And then they come in, the lighting's got to get better and this and that. And I'm like, you just want to punch the guy in the face. And you just go back to your RV. And you
Don't mess with a good thing. Why are you messing with it? Here's the other one, too, that I remember specifically because I'm the one that had to smooth the waters over, is when we did the promo with the MLB guys and with Mitch and Harold, right?
Yeah, and that one bitch was there.
Well, all right. So
fucking bitch. I couldn't stand her.
The producer.
Oh, and the guy.
Well, that's the thing. So we're there,
yeah.
and I'm not going to name any names, but Goose and I were there. And there you go. There's a picture of it right there. Our one audience member, Frankie's holding up the picture in memory of that
That's
show.
the White Sox episode. The pool table comes out.
Oh, that's the White Sox.
Under the
I
garage.
just saw a baseball cap, but nice try, Frankie. So anyway, you got into this big thing. So we're just so everybody knows, we're at the MLB studios, right? And and Goose is hanging out with two other athletes. They're doing what athletes do.
MLB Studios is actually even more G-rated than DIY
There you
sometimes.
go. So, and then we had the producer from DIY there, and they was trying to get everything. When I try to explain to people when they meet Goose for the first time, I'm like, listen, you got to give Goose some room. You can't just expect him to follow the guidelines and the rules like everybody else, right? You got to understand who you're dealing with. He didn't. So you guys were goofing off and you were doing whatever and you weren't paying attention.
He was trying to
him.
control us.
He was trying to control it. I'm like, you can't do that. And anyway, we got the thing done. There was some tension for a little bit, but we got the thing done, right? It ended up really cool. Everybody was. But a week later, I'm on set and Goose calls me over to the RV and he goes, "Hey," he hands me his phone. I'm like, he's just handing me his phone. Who am I talking to? And he talked to. So it was. Kathleen was on the phone. She's the head of DIY or head of HGTV at the time or Scripps and he just hands me the phone, and Kathleen gets on, and I'm like, "Hey, Kathleen, what's going on?" And he goes, "Hey, I just wanted to understand what happened and get the sense of, why there was some turmoil, and because apparently she heard about it, right? It went to the top.
Yeah, he went right.
And I'm
back.
like, "Listen, let's just boil this down to a conflict
right.
of personality. That's really what it was. Everybody, we got the job done. Everybody was happy, but they're just, that's just the way it is." So. Listen, you can't. When you're a producer, you have to be able to adapt to everybody you work with, right?
Exactly.
And you guys, you were doing your thing.
And by the way, he never worked with us again.
Yeah.
Just to let you know.
Anyway, well, this was fun, man. This was our first. Good
time.
Good times. Our first podcast.
We got a lot more stuff coming out too. I got, as we're sitting here talking, I got some.
You got some ideas?
Oh, yeah. No, some things that we haven't really talked about.
Oh,
and we listen.
There's a lot.
We're going to take callers too.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun. Yeah. And we'll talk about anything. Your sex life, how to improve it, how to make maybe your man's not man enough, and you want to get him to be more of a man. Maybe we could talk to him. I'll come by. We'll do something.
We could address all those issues.
I get a lot of emails of people who started, guys who have started their man caves, but really are lost like halfway in, and they're just like it's half done, and they don't know what to do.
I can't count the amount of emails I get. I wish I could keep up with the emails and the social media stuff on people asking. And trust me, it's not that I don't want to, folks. It's just I'm busy and I try to answer what I can. But yeah, no, you're right, dude. This can go in many different directions, Goose.
And also, people can contact us on social media, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever else. What else are you on there, Jace?
Hey, whatever, man. I don't know. Twitter. Did you say Twitter?
Yeah, I said Twitter.
Yeah, all right.
Twice.
Do you guys tweet?
I won't do it because it's called tweeting.
Yeah,
I won't do anything that's called tweeting.
Wainscoting.
I think Goose tweets.
Wainscoting.
Right? You tweet.
Wainscoting.
Yeah, I tweet every now and then. I'm going to be tweeting a lot more.
Jace, you tweet?
I'm not a big Twitter guy. I do. You know what
I
I
like
do?
the
Because you know what it is?
Facebook thing.
Instagram's easy. Right?
Instagram, a picture. That's
There-
it.
Exactly. Picture and a little caption. It's the easiest thing. You get on Twitter and you're
Oh,
trying
you got to see Frankie. Now, Frank, what's the name of your Instagram?
Frank Zappi.
Yeah, Frank Zappi, Z-O-P-P-I.
Frank Zappi.
Frank will put a picture up of like a nice dinner, like a steak, and his headline will be steak. That's it.
Frank keeps it simple.
That's it. My wife gets so pissed off. What? Everyone knows it's a goddamn steak. Why doesn't he say if it's good or not?
Does he do steak exclamation
No,
mark? Or
no,
just steak?
just
All right,
steak.
Yeah.
And then I'll go like, take a picture of like a boat.
He keeps it
Like
simple.
people like, listen.
Why over elaborate?
Why are you doing that? Like,
But Frankie's like, why over elaborate? This is what it is. Both.
potato. Frank, we all know it's a potato. Are you eating the potato?
Yeah.
What's going on? Like, you got to elaborate a little more. So we're gonna help Frank with his Instagram and go over a couple things. But it's working out. But listen, thanks everybody for listening today. We had a great time. Our first podcast, and
Help us come up with a name. We need to name.
yeah,
this
we need
thing.
a name.
We need to name this.
Right
thing.
now,
We'll
it's
decide.
called Jason and Goose's.
There you go.
There you go.